everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery. Got a product video for you today, a first of its kind video as well. This is the world's first digital single pin sight. This is the Digital React by Trophy Ridge sight that they just came out with, and basically it functions just like any adjustable single pin sight, except instead of having a sight tape, you're going to be using a digital readout to adjust this sight up and down. So before we dive into the electronics there, we're just going to start out by telling you about the sight. So it does function like any typical single pin adjustable sight. You're going to have your mounting holes on the side here, three different options, to move that sight in or out however you want it. You're going to have the large wheel. This is your adjustment wheel for moving the scope up and down. Inside here, you've got a nice scope with a single pin in there that's connected to the bottom, along with a physical level. That's going to come into play in a bit there. And you are going to have all your axis adjustments right here on the back. You're going to have your second axis adjustment screws. And then on the top here, this is going to be to adjust your third axis. Now, one of the things I really like about this sight is, and I don't know of any other sight that does that, but there's a single locking mechanism for both your windage and elevation adjustments. Right here, if I loosen that, now I can make my windage adjustments and I can make my elevation adjustments with that one locking mechanism right there. That's really handy. Rather than having one separate for each, you just got one with a nice thumb peg there. Real simple to undo that lock. So, and on the back here, incidentally, as I said, this will function like any standard single pin sight. You do have a spot where you can put a traditional sight tape, paper sight tape. Trophy Ridge does give you several sight tapes in the box right there, or you can make your own with any of the programs that make physical sight tapes. So you can put a sight tape there. It's got the pointer, so you can run this sight as you would any other single pin adjustable sight. But the big reason for this sight here is that it has digital readout. So here's my power button right down here. Turn that on and you can see I have 36 there. So you can watch these numbers adjust as I move. This sight has already been calibrated. We will go through the calibration process. But you can see, that's what you're going to see as you're adjusting this. You're up in your tree stand. Let's say you range a target and it comes, it's 32 yards away. You're just going to turn this dial to get to 32. Now you're ready to take that shot. So you're using this digital display instead of that sight tape, although you can use the sight tape. But I'm thinking about somebody like me, those sight tapes are really small, the numbers on there. I can see this a whole lot better. So this just seems to be a super handy way to get that adjusted. And I will say, the technology that Trophy Ridge has in here to calibrate it, I don't know exactly what that technology is, but all I can say is it works. Their numbers, once you get this set according to their directions, it is set. These numbers are accurate. And I'll tell you, there are a host of settings in here. So right now you can see that I'm on whole numbers. There is a function in here where I can go in and adjust this to get it to give me half yard adjustments. So I could see every half yard. So really fine tune the accuracy of those numbers there. But what I'm going to do is run through the basic setup. There's two ways you can set up this sight, according to your arrow speed, or you can do it by yardage. Of course, arrow speed, you would need a chronograph. So I'm going to run through the yardage adjustment. All you need for that is a range where you're shooting. You're going to be doing that anyway. And so if you are able to shoot, out to 50 yards, you can calibrate this sight just by doing that, just by shooting. So how you do the calibration. So the first thing that you need to know, this is important, I learned this the hard way, is you want to have the sight as far up as you can take. You see, I'm turning that wheel and I'm bringing this up. You want that all the way to the hard stop at the top. That's where you want to set your 20 pin. Now, obviously your scope, that could be anywhere depending on your peep height is going to adjust where that scope needs to be. Well, you have micro adjust right here. So my scope is turned all the way up on the big wheel. Well, now I can unlock and I can move that scope up and down just as I would any standard sight just by turning this. This knob will raise or lower the scope setting without affecting this main adjustment here. Same with my windage. Of course, I'm going to get my left and right. So what I'm going to do, again, with this sight raised as high as it will go, now I'm going to sight in for 20 yards using the micro adjust. So once I do that, I get my 20 yard set. Now I'm ready to start calibrating this sight. So I'm going to turn on right here, and now it shows 20. So because this sight is already calibrated. Well, regardless of what you want to get to on here is you want it to say REA. So if you turn it on and it shows REA, you're ready to start. If you turn it on and it shows you a number, you're just going to go to the center button here, which is the mode button, and I'm going to hold that down. You can see it turn blue and is blinking. Now when I let up, there's my REA. Press and hold, select. Okay, now my 20 is set, and I'm going to wait for it to give me the 1ST. Once I get that, hit mode once. Now I go to second. Now I'm going to start the process of sighting in my 30 yard pin. So I'm going to hit select here, and you see it turn purple. And my 20, I'm still set on 20 yards, so it turned purple. Now, I'm going to back up to 30 yards. 40 yards is even better, but 30 yards will work as well. And what I'm going to do is now, like with any single pin, I'm going to have to lower this and sight in just by adjustments at 30 or 40 yards. Of course, I'm going to move this, but don't go by these numbers. Those are not calibrated yet. So if let's say my pin needs to be there. What I'm trying to do is at 30 yards or 40, I want my arrow to hit behind my pin. I want to hit what I'm aiming at, regardless of what this number says. So let's say I did that. I shot it at 30 yards. My arrows are hitting at my pin, and this says 32. Okay, so now we're going to calibrate it. I know my sight is in the right place. Now I just have to get the numbers to match. So I'm going to press and hold select until I get 2 flashes. Let go there. Now you see it turning blue. So I have these 2 numbers here, and they allow me to adjust up and down. You see this one went to 35. I hit the mode button, it goes to 30. I'll just click it a couple times, 25. Back up the top button, it's going up in number. Well, I want it at 30. So once I get it, now it says 30. I'm going to press and hold select, and it turned gray. So now my sight is calibrated. So if I turn it up, you can see the numbers going down until I'm all the way at the top. Now I'm back to 20. That's where my 20 was. I turn the other way, bring it down, and now you can see those numbers are calibrated. Going all the way out as far as I can. Let's see what I can get to. On this sight, 90 yards. That's the distance that I can get here. Now, as we all know, shooting single pin sights, adjustable sights, my 20 and 30 yard can be set, but I may notice some movements at 40 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards. It might turn out that, like, on my dial, 62 is what actually is hitting at 60 yards. You can go through this process that we just did at 30 yards. Do that again at 60, and then you'll really be fine tuning it in there. That's where you're making your micro adjustments. When you get out 40, 50, 60 yards, you just keep recalibrating that to get those longer distances, and then the farther out that you're calibrated, you're really dialed in at all distances. So as I'm scrolling through my numbers here, this is how it would work if I were in my tree stand. You can see the screen is green in there. There's actually 6 colors. You can go in one of the settings. You can pick one of 6 colors. I know there's red and yellow. There's green, of course, blue. So you can pick your backlight color if you want in there. There's a setting in here where you can have it for yards. That's what I'm on right now. Or you can have it for meters. I already mentioned you can get it to read out in half yard adjustments as well. So there's just a bunch of further settings that you can add to this site to really get it working the way that you want. The Digital React does come with a sight light installed right here. This is going to be the light. It's a push button light where you can adjust the brightness. So in the pack with the Digital React, besides the sight tapes, you are also going to get a charge cord. It's a USB, so you can plug it into your computer or to your vehicle or whatever. And it does come with a wall mount as well. And you're going to have a micro USB on the other end, which goes into the sight right here. That's going to be where you're going to plug it in. Trophy Ridge does say that you get several hours worth of use out of this, but as we mentioned, you can put that sight tape on, the physical sight tape, to have a backup, if you're going to be out in the tree stand and this thing would run out of battery, you'd still be able to use it. All right, so that is the Digital React, brand new site from the folks at Trophy Ridge. Technology coming into archery. This is something new we haven't seen before. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click that bell to get notifications whenever we put out new videos. And as always, if you have any questions, you can visit us at lancasterarchery.com.